This is a slightly different video to the types of videos that I make in this sort of random access format, in that it's not a channel update or an unboxing or anything like that, but it's, I guess, a philosophical question. I know there's a bit of debate in the retro gaming and vintage computing community in terms of originality in vintage computers. The question that's come up a fair bit recently is how many mods can you make to a vintage computer before it stops being vintage? Now, that's not what this is about at all. The question is simultaneously simpler, yet also more complicated in my opinion. And it's been something that's been percolating in the back of my mind for quite a while, but a couple of things have brought this to the front of my mind. Recently, I acquired a Commodore 64G. I bought it by accident, if I'm completely honest. I didn't expect to win the auction. I honestly thought it would be pushed up slightly higher because whilst the 64G isn't a rare bird per se, they are very uncommon in Australia. So that's something I'm going to go on about in a future video. This is about 64s from earlier on, and what prompted me to go ahead and finally make this video was a tweet from Twitch streamer Lord Arse. He's a great retro streamer on Twitch, definitely worth checking out. But he recently tweeted that he'd bought a Commodore 64 Silver Label for £50. If you're watching this in Britain, you'd be well aware that £50 for a Commodore 64 in the current market is a very good price, particularly for eBay. So Lord Arse has done exceptionally well. Where it came a little bit unstuck was that it was advertised as a silver label. Now, Lord Arse opened it up and realised fairly quickly that it wasn't in fact a genuine silver label. The labels were reproductions, and fairly obvious reproductions at that. The serial number seemed a bit late for a silver label, and it was equipped with the 250407 board, which is an early bread bin board, as a lot of us already know, but it's not really associated with silver labels. The thing is though, maybe it can be associated with silver labels, but very late ones. And the reason I say this is because my silver label has a Rev A board in it. To be honest, I'm not sure if that makes my silver label a rainbow or not. The thing is with my silver label is it came in its original box. The original box has a photo of a C64 with a silver label on it. The serial numbers appear to be consistent with silver labels, albeit relatively high in the scheme of things. Early 64s that used the VIC-20 moulds were taller than later bread bins, and some of the chips date to 1982. The SID dates to 82. It has a ceramic VIC-2 chip in it. Most of the other chips date to early 83. So it's left me with a bit of an odd existential question. Not my own existence, but the existence of this 64 bread bin, my first 64 bread bin. Is my 64, not the G, but the bread bin, is it a silver label or is it a rainbow? I would describe it as Schrödinger's silver label, in that it's both a silver label and it's not a silver label, if that makes sense. Things like the Rev A board, 8-pin video out, and chips that date to early 83 do make me think that it's not actually a silver label. But it's in a genuine silver label case. I can tell that it's genuine silver label because I bought it from a garage sale from an old dude who's had it since new. The label's delaminating, which is understandable for a computer of this age, and the silver labels weren't fantastic to begin with, which is why so many of them ended up with rainbow labels or other repro labels, or no label at all, because the 64 silver labels were quite fragile. But it's that Rev A board that's confounding. I don't know whether it was replaced very early on under warranty, or if it was a silver label that was on the production line in Germany that perhaps got rejected and had to be reworked, and the only boards they had left were Rev A's. You got to remember here, Commodore basically used every single part they had. They didn't waste anything, so they weren't the type of company that would just stop using a particular label and start using a new one just for marketing's sake. They would exhaust all current stocks of whatever they have on hand before changing over. And my own hypothesis is that this Schrödinger's silver label was a product of Commodore in West Germany running out of KU boards before they ran out of silver label cases. So that's how this may have ended up with a Rev A board, despite the fact that, for all intents and purposes, it is a silver label. What I can tell you is it's undeniably a bread bin. Everyone can see that it's a bread bin, and it's behaving like a bread bin insofar as it has a black screen, and I'm having an absolute bitch of a time trying to diagnose it. But I do want to get this silver label fixed, but that's another story for another video or another piece of media or whatever, I don't know. But I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Is my silver label a silver label? Is it a rainbow label? Is it neither? Is it cool? Is it crap? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, see you later.